All right, what's going on? A to Z Sports. Sam Phelan here with you on a Friday to talk about the Titans draft scenario. The Titans have a bit of a dilemma on their hands, and while they've been active in free agency, it still feels somewhat impossible for Tennessee to truly address all of the needs they currently have on the roster. Right now, the remaining biggest needs for the Titans are at edge rusher and wide receiver, as well as quarterback, which we assumed is going to be addressed with the first overall pick in the draft. But despite having the first pick, the Titans are not as draft rich as you would think. They don't have many picks. They don't have a third round selection. And outside of that number one overall pick, they have just one other pick in the top 100. So if you're looking at the draft for Mike Borgonzi and Chad Brinker and a new front office that believes in the draft and develop strategy, how are you expected to draft and develop when you don't have many top 100 selections? I am going to provide the answer here today and lay out the perfect and realistic Titans trade scenario in the NFL draft that will allow them to address all of their needs. Before we get into the trade and today's show, I want to tell you all about my friends over at Lipscomb University because Lipscomb has a sport analytics department where data meets the game. You can analyze, strategize, and revolutionize and turn your passion for sports into a profession in sports by going beyond the box score at Lipscomb. Get game-changing insights and career-defining skills. Get off the sidelines and into the action with Lipscomb's sport analytics program. It's where you will learn to make the calls that count. I'm a Lipscomb alumni myself, and I always had a passion for sports. I always knew I wanted to work in sports, and thanks to Lipscomb, their faculty, they really helped me get connected to the city of Nashville and turn my passion for sports into a profession. You can do the same with their sport analytics program. It's innovative because at Lipscomb, they're not just watching the game, they're changing how it's played. Okay, let's get into this trade scenario because, like I said, the Titans have done a lot in free agency. They've been pretty active. They've solved the offensive line, at least on paper. They added Dan Moore Jr. to play left tackle. They signed Kevin Zeitler to play right guard. Now your offensive line, Moore, Skoronski, Cushenberry, Zeitler, Latham. Starting five looks rounded out, pretty solid. You've added Draymond Jones, who is an edge defender that will contribute for Tennessee. He joins Arden Key in that room as sort of a replacement for Harold Landry. But even so, the Titans did not get good enough play from their edge rushers in 2024. It's an area that they really need to upgrade. Jeffrey Simmons and Tavondre Sweat need help. And so the Titans are going to have to continue to add an edge rusher, and maybe that means they do it in free agency. But I think Tennessee is also looking to get younger. That's the other takeaway that I had of this week of transactions is, for the most part, the Titans are looking to clean house and get younger, streamline their talent, build a more sustainable core. And as Mike Borgonzi told us, approach roster building through a draft and develop strategy. That is what they're going to look to do. And with that in mind, I don't see the fix at edge rusher for the Titans long term being Arden Key, Draymond Jones on a 1-year contract, and another veteran that they probably signed to a short term deal. You're going to need to add somebody, an impact player in the draft. And the same thing goes for the wide receiver position. They signed Van Jefferson in free agency. He now is your wide receiver 2. And newsflash, Van Jefferson, not a wide receiver 2 in ability. Calvin Ridley, Van Jefferson, Bryce Oliver, Treylon Burks. That's about all you've got at the position right now. And it's March 14th with a lot of moves to be made. But I think the Titans are going to have to be active at wide receiver. And while they are also in the same bucket with edge where they could add another guy in free agency, I'd like to see them get an impact young wide receiver to sort of pair with Cam Ward, if Cam Ward is the pick at first overall, and let them grow together. And so what do they have in the draft? Well, if you're assuming they're taking Cam Ward with the first overall pick, which I am, now the Titans are not trading down. Trading down from number 1 overall was the easiest way to amass draft capital. That's off the table now. And so I looked at How could the Titans pick up multiple top 100 picks to get multiple impact players at multiple positions of need? And it starts with the 35th overall pick. Trading your second round pick, trading down from 35. And I did a little bit of research and I looked at last year in the NFL draft, and it turns out the 35th pick last year got traded. And I think it provides a blueprint for exactly what the Titans need to do in this year's draft. Last season, former Titans executive Monty Ossenfort took the job as the general manager of the Arizona Cardinals. And Arizona traded pick 35 along with pick 186. They sent them to the Atlanta Falcons in exchange for picks 43 and 79 in the draft. Arizona used pick 43 on Max Melton, and they traded back 79 again, 3 spots to 82 in a deal with the Colts. They got a 6th round pick in that deal with the Colts, which they ended up using. So you basically got your 6th round pick back. Let's look at this year's NFL draft order, right? The Titans are at 35, that same pick that Arizona had. And then the Cardinals packaged 186 with 35 in a deal to the Falcons. The Titans have 167. They also are sitting with pick 178 and 188. So the Cardinals traded 35 and 186. The Titans just got a pick from Dallas in a trade for Kenneth Murray Jr., which brought them pick 188 in the 6th round. You now have 35 and 188. Again, the Cardinals traded 35 and 186. It is the exact same, essentially, draft capital that you have to burn if you're the Titans. What if you package the two of them together? Well, let's look at those teams in the same range, right? The Cardinals went down to pick 43. I noticed pick 43 is the San Francisco 49ers, who also have pick 75. There's the Dallas Cowboys, who have pick 44 and pick 76. The Chicago Bears have pick 41 and pick 72. Those are options. Arizona at 47 and 78. Options for the Titans to trade back maybe 10 spots, a little less than 10 spots, 7, 8 spots in the 2nd round, and add a 3rd round pick. Get into the 3rd round where they currently do not have a selection. Hypothetically, if the Titans were to make a trade, let's say they make this deal with the San Francisco 49ers, and you go from 35 to 43, just like the Arizona Cardinals did last year. Now, let's say you get pick 75 back in the trade, and you give up pick 188 to San Francisco. Now the Titans are picking number 1, number 43, and number 75. What this allows you to do is kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It is address both edge and wide receiver, address multiple needs with your day 2 draft picks. Maybe if you are banking on the depth at edge rusher, it is a deep edge class. Maybe you take Princely Umanmielen at 43. Doing that, and now being in the 3rd round, allows you to go and get a Jack Betch, Jalen Noel, Jalen Royals, Isaiah Bond. Those are sort of the round 3 wide receivers we're looking at. And I think all of those guys, there's an argument to be made that they could be significant contributors. Maybe you flip it, right? Maybe it's Elika Umanor at 43. Maybe it's Trey Harris at 43, and you go wide receiver. And then you wait until round 3 and you get Michigan edge rusher Josiah Stewart, get Kyle Kennard out of South Carolina. There are options to address both positions with impact players. I don't think if you're the Titans, you can feel good about drafting one of edge rusher or wide receiver at 35 and sitting and waiting all the way until you pick in the 100s to really address this position because the drop off is actually significant. Let's look at the consensus big board for this draft at those positions and look at the drop off in talent that we get. At wide receiver, Tet McMillan, Matthew Golden, Luther Burden, Emeka Egbuka. I think all of those guys go in the first round. You've got Ayumanor, Harris, Higgins, Betch, Noel, Bond, Royals. Those are the guys that are going to go rounds 2 and 3. Maybe Restrepo or Savion Williams. When you get past 100, you stop being able to get to the guys with upside like Restrepo, Savion Williams, Higgins, Royals. You end up with Torrey Horton, Kyle Williams, Pat Bryant, Caden Prather. The talent starts to drop off fairly quickly in guys that you hope are simply role players at the next level. You hope they fill a hole for you, but I don't think you're taking Torrey Horton or Pat Bryant and expecting them to be 1,000-yard guys for you, or even 800-yard receivers, impact wide receivers. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm looking for. I think that's what the Titans should be looking for. So I think the advantage to getting into that 70 range, in those 70s, get a pick in that third round is massive. And then at edge, right? I think the Jordan Birch, Princely Unmanmielen, Kyle Kennard, Josiah Stewart, Braden Swinson, that's an intriguing edge group. Jared Ivey and Tyler Barron and David Walker out of Central Arkansas, that's who you're looking at in the 100s. I think there's a gap there, once again. So if you're the Titans and you're sitting there right now and you're itching to get another top 100 pick, if you're feeling like you got too many needs to address and not enough picks to get impact players, don't think about trading number 1. Go get your quarterback in Cam Ward. But think about trading 35 and look at the blueprint the Arizona Cardinals laid out for you last year. That's all for me today. Go check out my friends over at Lipscomb University in the Sport Analytics Department, where data meets the game. And keep tightening it up. Here on A to Z Sports, we'll have more free agency and offseason content leading up to the NFL draft all weekend. And we will be back next week with more morning shows and content galore on A to Z Sports.com. Till next time, see you guys.